The UFC had some amazing moments in 2022, including some great upsets like Leon Edwards' win over Kamaru Usman, Alex Pereira knocking out Israel Adesanya to become middleweight champion, the amazing fights between Glover Teixeira and Yuri Prohaska, and many, many more things that nobody could have predicted. So today, I'm going to be predicting all the things that could happen in 2023, and I'm going to be giving you my top 5 boldest predictions for the year. These things will happen, okay? So remember this video. Mark my words, okay? I'm going to be trying to cover as many divisions as possible, as many fighters as possible. So let me know down below what you think is going to happen in 2023. And let's get straight into this shit, bro. Starting off with number 5. Alex Pereira will KO both Adesanya and Robert Whittaker before the year is done. Alex Pereira started off the year in impressive fashion, beating Bruno Silva by unanimous decision, and then moved on to fight Israel Adesanya, at the end of the year in November at Madison Square Garden, knocking him out in the 5th round to win the title. And we've got a big 2023 ahead for Alex Pereira, starting off with the rematch with Israel Adesanya, which will likely happen around International Fight Week or near the end of the year. I don't know, man. That just gave me a voice crack, bro. Just thinking about this fight, I'm excited, bro. Because Israel Adesanya is going to get knocked the fuck out again, bro. Okay? Alex Pereira's power is going to be too much, and I can definitely see him being in Adesanya's head. And I think Alex Pereira will knock out Israel Adesanya inside 3 rounds with that left hook again. And this time, I think it will be a lot more violent. And that just leaves the question, what will be next for Alex Pereira? And my thoughts are, after he knocks out Israel Adesanya in Las Vegas inside 3 rounds, or, maybe they go back to Madison Square Garden again, I can definitely see the UFC booking a quick turnaround against Robert the Reaper Whittaker, who just lost his fight against Paulo Costa. Didn't lose against Paulo Costa, lost the fight that he was meant to have against him. So he'll be probably fighting in March or April, he just said. And I can definitely see Robert Whittaker being a tough challenge for Alex Pereira. I know many people are kind of doubting Alex Pereira against Robert Whittaker due to the wrestling and due to the skill set that Whittaker has. But me personally, my bold prediction, I think Alex Pereira will knock out Robert Whittaker before the year is done and will have collected 2 very good title defenses at middleweight, especially against Robert Whittaker, who I think is a tougher matchup for him. I can definitely see people saying that Robert Whittaker is going to win, and I think Bobby Knuckles is a tougher challenge than Israel Adesanya just stylistically. But at the end of the day, I'm going to stick with this bold pick, and I'm going to say that Israel Adesanya and Robert Whittaker will be knocked out by Alex Pereira before 2023 is over. And I can definitely see the UFC booking Alex Pereira and Khamzat Chimaev at some point in 2024. But you never know in the UFC. This is my bold prediction, okay? So I'm going to move on to my next bold prediction. Number 4, Aljamain Sterling becomes the UFC bantamweight GOAT. Now, I know this is a very controversial topic. Aljamain Sterling, of course, coming off a win against TJ Dillashaw on Fight Island, finished him inside 2 rounds. Obviously, TJ Dillashaw was injured, but many people still consider Dominic Cruz the bantamweight GOAT. But me personally, I think Aljamain Sterling is going to make his case undeniable in 2023. Now, we all know Aljamain Sterling is going to be fighting Henry Cejudo. Apparently, there's going to be more than Twitter fingers at work here. They may actually get in the cage and fight each other. And me personally, I just think Henry's not ready, bro. I just think Aljamain Sterling's been too active. He's on a roll. He's been getting better and better. He's really underrated, I think, because of the way that he won the belt. So me personally, I think when they fight in March on the Ngannou and Jones card, that Henry Cejudo is going to get finished by Aljamain Sterling, or probably lose a close decision. So I just burped, bro. That's how much I care about Henry Cejudo fights. Listen, I think Aljamain Sterling is going to finish him in 2023, and then Sean O'Malley will be next in line. I think Sean O'Malley has been calling out the winner of this fight. He wants an interim title fight, and I think that makes sense. And I can definitely see Sean O'Malley finding his way to a lucky decision over Marlon Vera, or maybe he'll look good. He is at that elite level. But I think that Aljamain Sterling has the skill set, has the game to beat Sean O'Malley, and I think that he will finish Sean O'Malley in 2023 before the year is done, having collected 2 title defenses, just like my last prediction. And when you look at his resume and you see that he beat TJ Dillashaw, by TKO. He beat Peter Yan twice technically. I know the way that he won the belt is ridiculous, but he does have an actual win over Peter Yan, which cannot be understated. And I think his legacy is going to be cemented when he beats both Henry Cejudo and Sean O'Malley next year, and probably finishes Sean O'Malley, which for some reason will get a lot of credit from the fans in his bantamweight GOAT conversation and rankings. And I think it will become pretty hard to deny Aljamain Sterling as the bantamweight GOAT in the UFC. And that is my number 4 bold prediction for 2023. Aljamain Sterling becomes the bantamweight GOAT. We move on. Number 3, Francis Ngannou will TKO Jon Jones in 2023 when they fight at UFC 285. Now, I know this is not as bold as the other two. Really, I'm going from like most likely to like least likely, or I guess most believable to least believable. This is a short one. I think Francis Ngannou has looked more and more skillful in every fight. He seems to be working on his grappling and his takedown defense more specifically. And right now, Jon Jones is bulking up to heavyweight. We don't know what he's going to look like. Me personally, I think Francis Ngannou will be a little bit worse when he comes back, but at the same time, I think his physicality, his power, his takedown defense will be enough when he fights Jon Jones at UFC 285 in March that the matchup will be favorable for him. And I can see Francis Ngannou stuffing a takedown and TKOing Jon Jones around round 3 or round 4 after a close fight and finishing the fight, winning a huge legacy-making fight against Jon Jones, but the UFC will still not budge on negotiations. So that is another video for another time. All this prediction is for number 3 is that Francis Ngannou will finish Jon Jones at UFC 285. He will TKO him and he will defend his belt. Will he fight again for the rest of the year? Who fucking knows, boys? But we'll see what happens. We're going to move on to my number 2 pick. Number 2, Alexander Volkanovski's downfall. This one is a shocker, I know, okay? Alexander Volkanovski had an amazing year in 2022. I think he fought 3 times, he defended his belt, he beat Max Holloway decisively, ended the trilogy, proved he is probably the greatest featherweight of all time. Absolutely destroyed the Korean Zombie. And I think I'm missing one more fight. Oh yeah, Brian Ortega, I think that was last year, but regardless, Alexander Volkanovski has a huge 2023 ahead of him. Okay, after defending his belt so many times at featherweight, he's decided that he wants to go up to lightweight. He will be taking on Islam Makhachev in Perth, UFC 284. It's a great fight. They set it up at UFC 280 when Makhachev beat Oliveira. And many people are saying, do not count out Volkanovski, and I'm one of them. I agree. I think Volkanovski has a very good chance. But my prediction, my bold pick for 2023, I think is a 2-pronged one. Number 1, Alexander Volkanovski will lose to Islam Makhachev in Perth and lose his number 1 pound-for-pound spot. Islam Makhachev will take that spot and remain the lightweight champion. Okay? Then he will come back down to featherweight to defend his belt against either Josh Emmett or Yair Rodriguez, and the unthinkable will happen. The winner of that fight will finish Alexander Volkanovski in a Kamaru Usman, Leon Edwards, Alex Pereira, Israel Adesanya type upset and shock the world, handing Alexander Volkanovski 2 losses in a row in the UFC and leading to a big rebuild in 2024. That's my prediction, okay? I think it's going to be a tough year for Alexander Volkanovski. I think people will be shocked by the outcome of the featherweight title fight more than the lightweight title fight, but Josh Emmett poses a big threat with his wrestling and his power and the fact that the UFC judges seem to love him so much. I think there's a chance that he can shock the world and defeat Alexander Volkanovski in a close fight when no one really gives him a chance. And on the other end of that coin, you have Yair Rodriguez, who can make something happen out of nothing. He's also very dangerous. His jiu-jitsu is getting better and better. You saw that against Brian Ortega, regardless of the injury. I think there's a chance he can throw up a little submission, and UFC just doesn't make any sense. That's what this pick is coming from, okay? UFC never makes sense, okay? The guy that's supposed to beat Volkanovski will never beat Volkanovski. The guys that have no chance against him will be the ones that beat him. So I think either Josh Emmett or Yair Rodriguez will add on to Volkanovski's loss to Islam Makhachev, and we will see a tough 2023 for Alexander the Great Volkanovski. I hope he can bounce back from these losses, but this is my bold pick, bro. I think Volkanovski is going to have a tough year in 2023. And speaking of that Islam Makhachev Volkanovski fight, I'm going to move on to my number 1 bold pick. Number one, BENEIL Dariush will shock the world and beat Islam Makhachev for the lightweight title. That's right, boys. BENEIL Dariush coming off a good streak. He just recently fought at UFC 280 and beat Mateus Gamrot. Great win for him, coming off a broken leg. He was originally supposed to fight Islam Makhachev before he broke his leg. And I know a lot of people, including me, were kind of doubting how he would go when he came back, but he looked really good. And I think it's time to accept that BENEIL Dariush has the style, has everything in the making to be a huge upset and beat Islam Makhachev. I can definitely see a lot of these upsets happening more. Okay, we've had Islam, um, not Islam versus Chaz. We've had, Leon Edwards, Kamaru Usman. We've had Alex Pereira, Israel Adesanya. Not really an upset, but again, it was kind of a shocking title change. And I can definitely see Islam Makhachev, BENEIL Dariush getting booked at some point in probably in Abu Dhabi next year. And I think this is just the perfect matchup for BENEIL Dariush to shock the world. I really think BENEIL Dariush is going to walk away from 2023 as the UFC lightweight champion, possibly beating Charles Oliveira and Islam Makhachev before the year is done. I think his power is too much. I think his grappling is next level. Like, he's just got the perfect style and build. He's a big dude. He's got the perfect build and style to beat Islam Makhachev. And the UFC does not want BENEIL Dariush as champion, so he will definitely become the champion. That's how it always works, bro. Okay, you think they wanted Leon to beat Kamaru Usman? No fucking way, bro. So the UFC will take what they can get, and BENEIL Dariush will beat Islam Makhachev next year and shock the world. I truly, truly believe that, okay? So mark my words, bro. Mark my fucking words, bro. Benny Dariush is getting the Tesla, and he's getting the belt next year. Mark my words, alright? That's my bold picks for 2023. Let me know what you think down below. What do you think is going to happen in 2023? And am I on the money? Am I off my rocker? Let me know down below. Drop a like, boys. I'll see you in the next video. Alright, catch you in the next one, boys. Oh, and Amanda Lemos will be UFC double champion before the year's over. Mark my fucking words, alright? See ya.